All right, guys, we're going to rock and roll on the show here. Give us a moment as we get our channels up and running, but take an opportunity to look at the headlines that we have on a screen. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast. Had an off-the-record conversation with an Albemarle County elected official today about the impact of Tom Perriello jumping in the mix for the 5th District. It was a brief, do you call conversations online, let me ask you this question, Judah. Are communications that you have with another person that are done online through, say, like Facebook Messenger, are those called conversations?
I don't see why not.
I think they would be, but would they have another name?
Digital discussions.
I had a digital discussion off the record with an Albemarle County elected official. I like digital discussion about the impact of Tom Perriello jumping in the mix for the 5th District. Since Tom Perriello this week has jumped in the mix for this congressional seat and a massive 5th District from a geographical territory-wise, we've seen a number of other Democrats drop out of the race. One of them that has not dropped out of the race is Mike Pruitt, who is an Albemarle County Board of Supervisor. The anticipation up until the point that Perriello made his announcement was Mike Pruitt was the front runner to get the Democratic nod and a favorite to potentially represent the 5th and head to Congress, which would have cut his Albemarle County Board of Supervisor term short. Then the supervisors would have had to fill Mike Pruitt's seat. Now, on paper, you have to believe that Perriello is the front runner to win, which most likely means Mike Pruitt will finish his term. I want to talk about the impact about Mike Pruitt probably not winning this race and finishing his term as a supervisor in Albemarle County, because I think it's a palpable, tangible, describable impact that not many folks are considering, despite political pundits and insiders and elected officials and heavy hitters and movers and shakers. We'll talk about that on today's show. Do us the favor of subscribing to our YouTube channel. Search the I Love CVille Network on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, please. We'd like to get that subscriber count up and the views on our channel up. I'd love to start flirting with 1 million views on the YouTube channel. We got some work to do, but we can get to 1 million views on the YouTube channel. John Blair, thank you for liking the stream on LinkedIn. That's very helpful to kind of let us know that we're live on that platform. I'm going to confirm that we're live on 15 Twitter accounts now, 15 Facebook pages. Judah, I ask you the same question every day, so it should be no surprise to you. Which headline intrigues you the most and why?
We've got a lot of intriguing headlines, but I think some congratulations are in order for Chief Conscious, who was appointed to the Public Safety Transition Committee. Chief Conscious is a good man, and he's done a great deal for Charlottesville, and it's nice to see him getting some recognition outside of our immediate area in this nomination.
He's highlighted that this is an apolitical position.
Yeah.
Chief Conscious. He does a very good job of remaining politically neutral. And I second what Judah said. We'll talk Chief Conscious, but we salute him before the program starts, like we always do. Judah Wickhauer, we can rock and roll when you are ready, my friend.
Quiet on the set.
Welcome to the I Love CVille show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. Good Thursday afternoon to you. It's a pleasure to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille network and our flagship show, the water cooler of content and conversation, the I Love CVille show. A lot we're going to cover on our broadcast, including a Virginia Department of Education report card that has now been released that offers insight or grades to Albemarle County and Charlottesville City schools and public schools across the Commonwealth of Virginia. There are many schools in Albemarle County that have performed significantly well. And by significantly well, they've earned the moniker distinguished. Many of those Albemarle County public schools, you could probably guess. Ivy Elementary, Murray Elementary, Henley Middle School, Western Albemarle High School, the Community Lab School, earn distinguished rankings, monikers, or grades. However, there are many of the schools within Charlottesville and Albemarle County's school divisions that have earned distinctions or have been slapped with grades that are extremely concerning if you're parents. Some of these schools have been slapped with monikers called need intensive support or off track. We will highlight the ones that are performing well, and we will also call into question the schools that are struggling and underperforming. What startled me from this Virginia Department of Education report card was the absolute number, the abundance, the many schools that were struggling to just maintain basic grading levels or metrics. We'll talk about that on today's program. On today's show, I want to discuss the cause and effect of Tom Perriello, his announcement earlier this week, his pursuit for a seat in Congress with the 5th District. Tom Perriello is a household name. Tom Perriello is obviously the clear-cut favorite in the 2026 midterm election to claim or grab or garner the Democratic nod. He is such a political force that a number of the Democrats that were competing for this seat, a primary, have already dropped out of the race in the last 24 to 48 hours. That's the Tom Perriello impact. One Democrat who has not dropped out of the race is Albemarle County Supervisor Mike Pruitt. Earlier this week, I briefly touched on the impact of Tom Perriello's announcement. Earlier this week, I said Perriello, the favorite to win the Democratic primary, and certainly someone that could win because he's done it in the past, the 5th District, despite the district being very Republican and very red. Mike Pruitt, since he does not have the name recognition, the household je ne sais quoi, the institutional brand recognition, he is someone that went from favorite in the Democratic primary to needing to do a lot of work to compete with Tom Perriello. And I think the fallout, the cause and effect of Perriello's announcement is going to have a significant impact on Albemarle County because it likely means Supervisor Mike Pruitt will not win the Democratic nod, will not win the 5th District, and will most likely complete his term on the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County. He's the representative for the Scottsville District. I want to unpack the cause and effect of Perriello's announcement even further on today's show. Also on the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, we'll highlight Tony Bennett, his soon-to-be induction into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, and we will highlight the impact of the North Carolina Research Triangle and the fact that Albemarle County is openly, actively saying we will compete with the North Carolina Research Triangle and the Paul Manning Biotech Institute and AstraZeneca's $4.5 billion infusion into northern Albemarle County are the linchpins for that competition. So much to cover on the broadcast. I want to highlight Charlottesville Sanitary Supply for being a part of the show. We met with John and Andrew Vermillion this morning. They are fantastic gentlemen. 61 years in business, soon to be 62. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, located on East High Street, online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. And Charlottesville Sanitary Supply now, a special announcement, launching a new division to the company, the Charlottesville Swimming Pool Company. You can find that division online at charlottesvilleswimmingpoolcompany.com. More details to come on the I Love CVille show about Charlottesville Sanitary Supply expanding even further into the swimming pool space. I want to relay some firsthand perspective before I go into our topics today. Our oldest son and I, he is 7 years old, turns 8 in March. He's a second grader. He and I have just been spending a lot of quality time together. We have now have found we have quite a bit in common. He is a avid racket sports player. He has already showing a head for business. He is tenacious. He is competitive. He is loyal. He is fierce. He is curious. He is sensitive. He's a great kid. And in the last 6 to 12 months, our relationship has blossomed even further as father and son because of this common ground. And it's just been an extremely joyous experience for me, one that I look forward to each day, as he gets out of school, or each morning as he wakes up before school, or when we're spending even more time together on the weekends. And as I navigate this, I guess kind of uncharted territory for me. This is our first son. He's 7. There is no playbook or roadmap for being a parent. So my wife and I, like all parents, we're kind of just figuring this out on the fly, day by day, trying to be the best versions of ourselves. Sometimes we fail, sometimes we succeed, sometimes we do what's most important, and that's checking in, being on time, being the best version of ourselves, or at least trying to be, with our kids. And as I navigate this uncharted territory with our oldest son, I find myself often in real time questioning my decision making. I find myself often asking, is this the right thing to do in the moment? And then considering if my first instinct is right or if my second instinct is right. And it never in my life, as someone who has always led with his gut, as someone who has always led with his intuition, his instinct, and as someone who has always trusted it. My wife trusted as well. Never in my life have I had more second guessing than I do right now as a dad. And I second guess so much because I want to make sure that our 2 boys, we have a 3-year-old as well, and our 7-year-old have just a better scenario in life than what my wife and I had, and both my wife and I had come from fantastic families and fantastic households, 2-parent households that prioritized learning and hard work and honesty and ethics and integrity. So as I get closer with our oldest son, and as we continue to grow down this path, this bond of father-son, I offer kind of not words of caution, but my perspective to the dads and moms that are out there, that, hey, we may not always have the right answer, and maybe we are constantly second guessing ourselves as parents with our kids, but that's normal. There was a young father that was in our studio this morning. I won't utilize his name, and he is very much in the thick of things with his 8-month-old son. And I found myself as a father of a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old boy offering advice to this young father and his 8-month-old son, saying, look, times are dark right now. We understand sleeping is tough, but the storm is passing, and all this hard work that you're putting in now will yield tremendous return on investment, and it's love and joy and this bond once your son gets to 7 years old, like I'm in right now. It's been extremely enjoyable and joyous time for me as a dad. All right, so that's out of the personal playbook, a little stream of conscious or conversational journaling for you, the viewer and listener. I'd love to go to the studio camera, if you could, please, and then go to a 2-shot as we welcome Judah Wickower to the program. Judah Wickower, the man behind the camera, not so much anymore, a man very much in front of the camera now. Start the program the same way every time. The content that intrigues you the most today, and why, my friend?
I'm proud of Chief Conscious. He's been an excellent addition to our community, to our government, and I'm happy to see him getting some recognition for all he can do.
And did you let them know what the recognition was?
That recognition is for Spanberger's transition team. He is going to be part of. He's going to be part of the Public Safety Transition Committee, as well as this is a committee helping with public safety and homeland security policy.
I've said it oftentimes on this show, if there's one man that could run for city council, if there's one man that could run for any kind of delegate position, there's a man that could run for a seat in the 5th District or any of the districts.
He could probably beat Perriello. Well, I don't know that he could. I'm being somewhat facetious, but
Chief Kochis is a man that has unified this community. There's few people post-COVID that have brought this community together into a common ground of human connection, a common ground of communication, a common ground of safety and trust than Chief Kochis. And I sincerely mean that. I can't think of a single person post-COVID, COVID to now, that has done more for this community than Chief Kochis.
oh yeah.
If you viewers and listeners can think of one, put it in the feed and I will relay it live on air to the viewers and listeners. All right, 2 topics I want to cover on the show. It's kind of something to unpack, and you got lower thirds to put on screen. The first 2 lower thirds should be rotated on screen if you could. Starting with the first one now. The announcement of Tom Perriello. Tom Perriello is a former congressman. Once you're a congressman, are you always a congressman? Like once you're a president, you're always a president, right? We constantly refer to President, Bush, President Clinton. It's not former. It's President, President Obama. Is that the same for Congress? Question for you, the viewers and listeners. Tom Perriello, a narrow victory in 2008, a victory that was very much pushed over the finish line when Barack Obama graced Charlottesville with his presence on the downtown mall, the pavilion on the mall, and really galvanized a 5th District that is historically very Republican, very conservative, and pushed Tom Perriello to victory lane. Now, Tom Perriello, an unsuccessful bid, 2-year terms in Congress, an unsuccessful bid in 2010.
Yeah.
Then Perriello, after losing in 2010 a number of jobs tied to the Hill and tied to behind-the-scenes politics, now he's very much front and center politically. Yesterday evening, he was at Random Row Brewery on Preston Avenue, wow. And it was a slammed, packed house. Sure. The buzz at Random Row Brewery was tangible. It was palpable. There were political dignitaries and luminaries present, including former governor, or once a governor, always a governor? Do I have to say former? Governor Ralph Northam, David Toscano, Lloyd Snook, and a lot of movers and shakers politically. Tom Perriello is the apple of Sonia Smith's eye. Tom Perriello has to be on paper the clear-cut favorite to win the Democratic nod in the 2026, what will be a 2026 midterm election. Now remember, just because you're the Democratic nominee does not mean you're a slam dunk to win the 5th District. It's very different than Charlottesville City Council, where the Democratic primary determines who wins who gets the victory lane. In the 5th District, victory lane's determined in November. Okay, and right now the 5th District is represented by someone who's embattled, someone who is an unknown, someone who you may even call divisive, someone that is refusing in a lot of ways to have town halls, right? John McGuire. Yeah. So this is a race that's wide open. On paper, I think Perriello is your favorite to win the Democratic nominee. Mm-hmm. And on paper, I think Perriello very well could win the 5th District. This is the question that we should be asking as taxpayers, as residents, as folks that live in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, Albemarle County, or work at the University of Virginia, or have some kind of affiliation with Central Virginia in any capacity. Mike Pruitt is also running for this seat.
And he's not stepping down, unlike a lot of the other people that were planning on running until Perriello's name showed up.
Mike Pruitt, the Albemarle County Board of Supervisor, represents the Scottsville District. He's a military veteran. Mm-hmm. He's an attorney. He's a housing advocate. And he's politically ambitious. So much so that he announced that he was running for this race months ago, well ahead of Tom Perriello. Mm-hmm. And he's doing so in the middle of his term for supervisor. Tom Perriello most likely will win this Democratic nomination, which means Mike Pruitt will likely complete his first term on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. That leads all of us to this question: the cause and effect of Tom Perriello's announcement this week and how it impacts Albemarle County. I want to unpack that to lead today's show. Pruitt is an advocate of expanding the developmental area. Pruitt has previously endorsed trading out certain pockets that are in the development area with pockets that are outside the development area, specifically Rivanna Village, the area around the gated community Glenmore. He saw firsthand, this is also his district, he saw firsthand how, and I saw firsthand, frankly, behind the scenes, because I was living in Glenmore at the time, how 2 or 3 dozen residents of Glenmore pretty much crushed the full capacity development tied to the neighborhood Breezy Hill, a southern development project right outside the gates. Yeah. Breezy Hill was going to be way more dense than what is materializing now. And that's because these sophisticated, well-heeled, well-funded, nuanced, organized, and strategized Glenmorians lobbied and pressured the supervisors to shrink the density footprint of the neighborhood, and they pushed infrastructure, fire and rescue personnel, traffic, and safety as the reason to squash the development. So with Pruitt likely finishing his term on the Board of Supervisors, and Judah, with Sally Duncan replacing Diantha McKeel, and with Ned Galloway, who's going to join us on Real Talk 1 week from tomorrow. Ned Galloway, Supervisor Galloway, will be on Real Talk at 10:15 a.m. 1 week from tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think we have Candace Vanderlyn and Woody Fincham on the program. We have to ask ourselves, does Tom Perriello's announcement mean Albemarle County will become more housing dense, more development area expansion focused, more pro-housing? That's a great topic for your cocktail and charcuterie party this weekend. And if you want charcuterie suggestions, my suggestion to you is the Gouda cheese. Judah's not a fan. And some prosciutto with a cracker that is willing to carry the weight of the Gouda and the prosciutto without breaking.
Willing or able?
Both. What is your thoughts on this topic, Judah Wickhauer, as we lead the show?
Charcuterie boards or
Perriello? I'm open-minded to both. And is Perriello a cheese, or is it Tom, the candidate?
Good questions. I was impressed to find out that Pruitt has so far out fundraised McGuire. Very impressive.
I will push back on that stat. The Republican has to fundraise a lot less in this race than the Democrat.
That's fair.
Because it's historically a very red district. People are like, what do you mean it's a very red district? We live in Charlottesville and Albemarle. The 5th district is legitimately massive, larger than some states, ladies and gentlemen. I believe it, certainly Rhode Island. I think
I looked it up because I wasn't really sure what the area was, and when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness,
it's massive.
It's a very strangely drawn district.
Yeah, and it encompasses a considerable amount of rural America, and that rural America is often red and leaning. More conversation on this, and then I'll offer some thoughts, then we'll get to the viewers and listeners. I mean, the 5th District includes a majority of rural Southside Virginia. It stretches as far as the Richmond suburbs, Charlottesville, Danville, Lynchburg. It's absolutely massive. Go ahead, Judah.
I mean, if I were McGuire, I would not be resting on my laurels when it comes to fundraising. Not only does he have some strong competition from the Democrats, but he's got, I believe, Bob Good eyeing his old seat, wanting to reclaim it, and I'm not even aware of who else is trying to jump in, toss their hat in the ring on the Republican side. So maybe he doesn't want it that much. Who knows? But if he's not gonna fundraise, he may have trouble.
John McGuire, the incumbent, Bob Good, previously 2 terms prior to McGuire. Bob Good thinking about jumping in the mix. Friend of the program, Denver Riggleman.
You think he's going to jump back in?
I don't think Riggleman's going to jump back in. I think
saying
Riggleman's
past.
coasting. Riggleman was ahead of Bob Good for 2 terms. Tom Garrett, Robert Hurt beat Perriello when Perriello seeked a 2nd term. Then Perriello, then Virgil Good. So you're looking very Republican over the last generation or so in the 5th district. I want to talk about this, how this impacts Albemarle County, because we're the water cooler of content and conversation in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia.
Does that center around Pruitt remaining in his seat?
I think that's the absolute story that's not being told. There's not a media outlet locally that's looking at this angle.
But unless he can convince other Board of Supervisors members to vote along with him on some of these things, like you mentioned with the...
He's got a vote in Sally Duncan, and he's got a vote in Ned Galloway. Ned Galloway right now, Sally Duncan right now, and Mike Pruitt right now would expand the development area. They would do that right now. The swing vote is Fred Missel in the Samuel Miller district.
Interesting.
Ann Malik will not expand the development area. She's the 5th term supervisor, Whitehall district. She will not do it.
Yeah.
B. Lepisto Kirtley, 2nd term, Rivanna district, will not do it. The swing vote is Fred Missel. Pruitt, the competition he's facing right now from Tom Perriello means he finishes his term and creates a voting block of Galloway, Duncan, and Pruitt, and now they are going to do their best to seduce, recruit, or romanticize Fred Missel to their voting block. And if they're capable and able of doing that, Albemarle County's development area will expand from 5% to a larger land mass, which will mean more housing locally. Mark it down. In the lease scenario, the most obvious would be trading out dirt outside the development area for dirt within the development area.
Yeah.
Rivanna Village is a perfect example of a trade that's in the development area that could be traded out for something else.
Yeah.
This is a story that's not being talked right now. And they will utilize, go ahead. They will utilize the platform or the mantra or the mission. We have AstraZeneca coming with 600 jobs. We have AstraZeneca coming with 3,000 indirect jobs. Rotate lower thirds on screen if you could. You can now go to the Research Triangle 1. Albemarle County is actively saying that biotechnology and life science will compete with the Research Triangle in North Carolina, a research triangle led by NC State, UNC Chapel Hill, and Duke University. This research triangle is extremely significant. More than 300 companies, 55 to 60,000 employees, 10,000 plus contractors, okay? And they're going to say Paul Manning Biotech Institute and AstraZeneca are going to create or further the housing crunch, so this expansion of the development area is a must. That's going to be your storyline, viewers and listeners, for 2026 in Albemarle County. Mark it down today. Our crystal ball is rarely wrong. Had Perriello not jumped in the mix, this is a crazy if. This shows you the impact that all politics matter and local politics matter the most in a lot of ways. Had Tom Perriello not announced this week that he was seeking the 5th district seat, Mike Pruitt would have won the Democratic nomination.
You think he would have beaten everyone else?
100%. Not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And Mike Pruitt would have competed and could potentially have upset John McGuire, because John McGuire is about as, I don't want to use the word abrasive. I don't want to use, maybe it's unknown,
I couldn't even tell you what he looks like.
lacking in communication skill set,
Yeah, he's gotten a lot of.
forgettable in a lot of ways. Forgettable. John McGuire is to the 5th District what Brian Pinkston was to Charlottesville City Council.
Wow.
That's what it is. And not the cantankerous nature of John McGuire, not the voting track of John McGuire, the vanilla nature of John McGuire is the analogy with Pinkston. The milquetoast nature of John McGuire with Pinkston. Pruitt could have beaten McGuire. And if Pruitt had beaten McGuire, your supervisors would not have come close to the 4 votes needed to expand the development area and to push density. That is a wild turn of events that no one's discussing right now. Viewers and listeners, like and share the show. Let us know your thoughts. Neil Williamson is watching the program. Neil, what are your thoughts on that commentary right there? And Neil Williamson highlights Biscuit Run, the park down South Side, Charlottesville, right in the urban ring, Avon 5th Street Extended, that was housing expectation, but came online at exactly the wrong time, the housing crisis of 2008, 2009, and has since been repositioned as a park. Maybe he puts Biscuit Run as in the comment section, Neil Williamson, because he says Rivanna Village could be traded out with Biscuit Run. Is that what you're alluding to there, President of the Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson? Vanessa Parkhill, her photo on screen. Don't forget that it's very possible, she says, the 5th District may not have the same boundaries by election time. That will most likely be a significant factor depending on how the districts are redrawn. She's absolutely right. Richmond Democrats want to redraw the district, make it more liberal in its voting ideology than it is right now. Parkhill says Tom Perriello is a smart, experienced, and very well-connected man. I guarantee you he did not enter this race on a whim. 100% right, Vanessa Parkhill. 100% right. Carol Thorpe is watching the program. She says, Jerry, as the chair emeritus of the Jefferson Area Tea Party, I had many public interactions with Tom Perriello. I have a lot of historical context and stories to tell. While Tom and I respect each other, we could not be more polar opposite in political opinions. I think his election this time may hinge entirely on whether or not the Democrat-controlled General Assembly succeeds in their plan to Frankenstein the 5th District from its current split of 5 Dem, 4 Republican seats to 10 Dem, 1 Republican seats. Frankenstein the district is a fantastic way of putting it. Frankenstein the district, another way of putting that is redrawing the district.
Yeah.
Reimagining the district, remodeling the district. Some would call it destroying the district.
It's all the rage today.
Such as politics. I mean, look at what they did with the Board of Visitors. Look at what they did with Youngkin appointees.
Yeah.
There's still vacancies on the board. Wait till you see what Spanberger does. Conan Owens says, build, baby, build. Conan Owen is a fan of density locally. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Put them in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. Judah Wickhauer, comments, and then more comments are coming in from the viewers and listeners.
Well, I mean, this is certainly interesting. Perriello deciding he must have taken an assessment of the Republican strength right now and said, hey, there was probably never a better time to jump back into politics in Central Virginia, especially for someone like Tom Perriello, well liked and a former congressperson in the 5th District.
I just got a text message literally right now. Who's that from right there? You can read it.
Let's see. NG. I can't see the name. Ned.
Ned Galloway?
Ned Galloway texted me moments ago, the Albemarle County Supervisor, soon to be in his 3rd term. He wants to highlight that a week from tomorrow, Jesse Rutherford, Tony O'Brien, and himself, Ned Galloway, will be in studio. That's a Fluvanna County Board of Supervisor, a Nelson County Supervisor, and an Albemarle County Supervisor 1 week from tomorrow at 10:15 a.m. on the I Live CVille network. Ned Galloway, a lot we're going to cover with you on the broadcast. Go ahead, Judah.
I'm glad somebody told me before next Friday.
Well, that's why he did that. John Blair watching the program. He said powerful words on being a dad. John is also a phenomenal dad. He also highlights something that we should have mentioned earlier this week on the show, that his barbershop in Barracks Road Shopping Center, the former Staples, is closing. I actually got a text message this weekend from a squash friend that sent me a picture of a piece of paper that's on his barbershop and Barracks Road Shopping Center that's been posted there. I'll read the piece of paper with the announcement that's on there. It says, to our loyal customers, it is with deep sadness that his barbershop will close permanently on January 24th, 2026. We have come to this after exhaustive efforts to keep the doors open, including a sale that was ultimately stymied, and we've run out of options. It has been a pleasure to continue the legacy and history of the shop we picked up in 2018, where Staples Barbershop left off from their beginning at Barracks Road, starting in 1959.
Wow.
From Albert to Ken to us, a rich and proud history. We are grateful to have been a part of the story, and has been your support and loyal patronage that has kept the doors open, along with great staff past and present. We will miss you all and hope you'll follow our team as they move on. Thank you for making his barbershop a success. We couldn't have done it without you. His barbershop, most noteworthy, or most known as Staples, has been around since 1959. Quick math, Judah Wickhauer, that makes it, 86 years old?
86? No. 59 is
66 years old.
66, yeah.
66, thank you very much. You're keeping me in check. 66 years old for the barbershop. Can you imagine the overhead tied with Federal Realty and Barracks Road Shopping Center?
Nope.
And slinging $15 and $20 haircuts? And the volume of haircuts that you have to do?
Yeah.
Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen? Who wants to bet his barbershop closure and Barracks Road Shopping Center is tied to the most expensive rent district in the city of Charlottesville? Publicly traded Federal Realty that does all they care about is the bottom line, and not an institution that's been around since 1959.
No doubt.
Thoughts, put them in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. The domino effect, I'll close with this. The domino effect of Perriello's announcement will be one that will be generationally significant for Albemarle County. And the generational significance of the announcement will be associated with housing density and the potential infrastructure strains that come with it. I am not against housing. I'm all for housing. All for housing. I'm also for infrastructure and schools. I say it all the time. Don't paint me as a NIMBY. Paint me as someone that plans and strategizes.
Yeah. I think that's a big problem in the area.
Well, it's a perfect segue into the next topic. How about the Department of Education grades that were announced? New lower third on screen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Virginia Department of Education has released its report cards. And I'll start with the positive. Albemarle County schools have, some is the key word, have earned positive remarks. And guess the ones that have received positive remarks, Judah.
Oh, I would do a terrible job guessing the actual ones, but I've got the information in front of me.
Western Albemarle High School, otherwise known as Stab West, Ivy Elementary, formerly known as the artist we call Prince, or Meriwether Elementary School, Virginia Murray Elementary School, and Henley Middle School. Those Albemarle County high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools were the ones, along with Stony Point Elementary, Hollymead Elementary, and Brownsville Elementary, to earn distinguished monikers. So to put this in perspective, Brownsville is in Crozet. The ones that received distinguished, which is the top distinction by the Virginia Department of Education.
There are four. There are four rankings. Distinguished is the top. Next is on track. Then you've got off track, and finally at the bottom is needs intensive support.
Yeah. The schools that received distinguished, most of them, Western 1, Henley 2, Murray 3, Ivy 4, Brownsville 5, tied to Ivy or Crozet. Also receiving distinguished, Hollymead and Stony Point.
What I found interesting is that by and large, the high schools and middle schools did fairly well. It was mostly the elementary schools that had some failures, had some areas that fell into the needs intensive support category.
Agner Elementary needs intensive support. Stone Robinson Elementary in Keswick, off track. Scottsville Elementary, Woodbrook Elementary, Mountain View Elementary, off track. Middle schools, Burley Middle, off track. Now, city schools, same report card comes out for city schools. City schools, goodness gracious, a lot of concern on the city schools, okay? The Divisions 2 middle schools in the microscope. Charlottesville Middle School checked in as off track. Walker Upper Elementary needs intensive support.
Yeah.
This Virginia Department of Education report, which you can find online, ladies and gentlemen, offers a clear snapshot of where your son or daughter's schools stand in a independent grading system done by the Virginia Department of Education.
Yeah. There's an accountability benchmark of 80 points that they need to get past to reach the on-track level.
The on-track level is an 80% score, ladies and gentlemen. 80%. Me growing up, Judah, 80% was one tick above failing. When we were growing up, when you were scoring in the 70s, you were in the D-F range. 80 growing up for us, at least the school that I went to, 80 was like C-. That's not what you remember?
I went to so many different schools. I don't remember what the I don't remember how they all tallied their scores.
Our grading system in our school was extremely competitive.
I have gone through some of my old report cards, and they were hilarious.
97 to 100% was an A+.
97?
93, 94, 95, 96 was an A. 92, 93, A-. And then 90, 91, B+ range.
Wow.
It was extremely competitive. Below 80, your parents were called into school for parent-teacher conferences.
I mean, really, it just depends what the bell curve is.
We didn't have that.
I'm just saying that the numbers don't matter in a vacuum. You can say that 60 and below is an F. You can say that 70 and below is an F. It doesn't matter if you don't understand how they're scoring tests.
That's fair. I do think the grading has become watered down. Parents, what are your thoughts on that? I would encourage you, regardless, parents, to check out the Virginia Department of Education report cards that have been issued for the local school systems. Some of the scoring will surprise you. I mean, goodness gracious. Woodbrook Elementary, 67.6%. Woodbrook Elementary, very concerning. Western Albemarle High School, on the other hand, scored a 107.
Out of 100?
107 for Western Albemarle. You just got the dad jokes today.
Did they get extra credit for for bringing the test giver an apple and a slice of cake?
How about the framework score between Woodbrook Elementary, 67.6%, and Ivy Elementary, 96.5%? How about Murray, 98.3%, and Woodbrook, 67.6%? That's a delta of 31 points. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Next headline, Judah Wickhauer, what do you got?
Let's see. We've got Loudoun County.
All right, you set the stage on this one. This is your headline from yesterday. This one's a startling one.
Yeah, this is a startling one. Apparently, a couple of students who identify as young Christian men had a problem with, I think, transgender students coming into the men's bathroom and using it to change. They were uncomfortable, and they were chastised by the school. And now the government is saying, hey, that's not cool. We may have to withhold some money from you. I mean, it's pretty wild that two students are accused of violating the transgender access policy in Loudoun County. And this was for the policy requires students and faculty to accept and promote gender inclusivity, and two students in the department failed to do so by saying this is how they got in trouble and failed to follow the policy, which was by saying they felt uncomfortable after a student assigned female at birth changed clothes in the boys' locker room and recorded the event.
Yeah.
I mean, this is insanity. And the boys were suspended for 10 days and ordered to submit to a comprehensive student support plan to which this agency, which is suing the school, says further obviously violates the boys' rights to free exercise of religion. I mean, should it even be about religion? I mean, here was someone born female, changing in a locker room, recording it.
Yeah, the recording thing is...
I honestly cannot understand how these two boys ended up suspended. But there are a lot of times where I think the federal government seriously overreaches, and I think correcting an error like this is a good use of the long arm of the law.
Yeah, wild times. Recording in the locker room is such a breach of privacy.
Yeah.
Every locker room I've ever been in, there's signs that say you can't even use your cell phone. Like, not even like use your cell phone.
Because you could have the camera open.
Yeah, but recording in them is just a utter breach of privacy.
Yeah.
And the inclusion of the Christian was done just to stoke the fire. Like, why the religious labeling?
Yeah.
Do you understand it in any capacity?
No, I don't think it applies anywhere here except to say if somebody is out there saying if these boys weren't identifying as Christians, then maybe they would have been fine with all of this.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Crazy.
I mean, it's just nuts.
And the school system?
The school system is obviously run by, former inmates and
the asylum?
insane asylum
Yeah.
inmates. Because come on, suspending the boys for 10 days for saying they were uncomfortable with a woman in their dressing room recording things.
And that 10-day suspension will follow them and will be something that they're going to have to address on their transcripts in the future.
No doubt.
If you're the parents of these boys, I imagine they're speaking with attorneys. Next headline, what do you got, Judah Wickhauer?
Do we have anything else?
We've done the research triangle.
We've got Conscious.
You set the stage for the who, what, when, where, why with Chief Conscious.
With Abigail Spanberger getting ready to take her place as the Virginia governor, she is putting together her crews, and in a very, I don't know, wise decision, she chose Charlottesville Police Chief Mike Conscious to serve as a transition committee on public safety and homeland security policy. The committee is currently developing policy recommendations on key public safety and homeland security issues. And Chief Conscious, in a quote given on charlottesville.gov, says it's an honor to have the opportunity to contribute to the governor-elect's transition efforts and to share perspectives on public safety. Helping develop thoughtful policy recommendations on important public safety topics is a meaningful way to ensure our communities remain safe while building trust and accountability. And I'm sure he has a better ear there than he does, sadly, in our own city.
Well, I think council listens to Chief Conscious.
I'm sure they do.
I think council is victim often of activist pressure, however.
Yeah.
And we saw that with the sheltering and camping ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
We'll really see the backbone of council in 2026 when the shelter is completed and Charlottesville City has north of $10 million of skin in the game.
Do we think it's going to be completed in 2026?
Yeah, I would think it would be 2026, tail
Okay.
end of 2026. If Charlottesville, all right, let's hedge and call it early 2027, okay? If Charlottesville does not have the backbone, its leadership, after spending $10, $11, $12 million to purchase and upfit the shelter, the homeless shelter, if it doesn't have the backbone to implement new policy, to empower the police, to essentially redirect homeless activity from the business district to the state-of-the-art, world-class shelter, then we know that local government is weak, spineless, and can't see the forest through the trees. In very frank conversation.
Is that what it'll take?
If you spend $12 million, if you're pot committed to $10 to $12 million, you better see through your bet.
Yeah.
And not get weak after the card on the turn of the river is something that makes you a little queasy.
That's fair. I think it's also fair to say that the shelter is something that we need. It's not just a a ploy to get people, to get the houseless off the downtown mall.
No, the shelter is something we need. But that shelter did not have to come to the tune of $10 to $12 million in a yearly commitment financially to manage it.
Yeah, that's fair.
It didn't have to be like that.
I'm
It
just-
could have been in conjunction with the Salvation Army on Cherry. It could have been there. There was a
Potentially.
number of spots more affordable than that made sense. But they got peer pressured every time. And the only people that offered the peer pressure on the Holiday Drive location were the 3 hotels and Angela at the Aberdeen Barn.
Yeah.
It was not peer pressure of historical track record peer pressure. It was peer pressure from 4 businesses, which they were willing to overlook. All right, James Watson's photo on screen. He says, in a nutshell, James Watson, he says on one of the 15 Facebook pages, sadly, if you look at the schools, elementary, middle, and high school, that are performing well, they are all tied to the rich neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the resources certainly have something to do with it, and that's why if you look at Albemarle County, the homes with the most value are often in the western and Ivy feeder pattern, because the schools in a lot of the ways are driving home value. And also, I wonder this. I don't have this answer. I wonder if the likelihood of having two-parent households in the western Crozet and Ivy feeder patterns is greater or more likely than in other patterns and other neighborhoods, because the value of a two-parent household is priceless. Next headline, what do we got? Is this Tony Bennett?
Likely. Triangle and Bennett.
What's that?
Research Triangle.
We
and
touched
Bennett.
on that already,
Yeah.
which I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. Tony Bennett is the last one.
Yep.
Tony Bennett will be inducted into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2026. So well deserved. 364 wins, 136 losses, and 15 seasons. National championship in 2019, 2 ACC tournament titles, 6 ACC regular season championships, 10 NCAA tournament appearances in 15 years, the ACC Coach of the Year in 2014, 2015, 2018, and 2019, and the 3-time National Coach of the Year. This guy has an overall record, including his time at Washington State, of 433 wins and 169 losses in 18 years, 134 wins and 136 losses in 15 seasons at UVA. What a stud. If Tony Bennett goes anywhere in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, he should never pay for a drink again. Never pay for a bacon cheeseburger at Riverside again. Recently spotted at Riverside this week, Tony Bennett. His son, I believe, is a basketball coach at St. Anne's Belfield. Carol Thorpe highlights the fact that the superintendents of Albemarle County and Charlottesville City Schools are compensated in total compensation $250,000 a year, and that their compensation should be tied to performance.
Yeah.
That's from Carol Thorpe, Quinn and Jack Jewett. We'll highlight Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes, one of the partners of the show. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. If you have a dream or a vision for a hardscape at your house or your business, you contact Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes. The value proposition of a custom hardscape is more than return on investment. It's return on experience and return on quality of life, return on memories. Oak Valley Custom Hardscapes and Tim Hess. Thank you for joining us. For Judah Wickhauer, I'm Jerry Miller.